got lots of UFO news to talk about today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, to start with, we've got a beautiful UFO video from Peter Maxwell Slattery, who I was privileged to have on the channel for an interview a few months ago. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. He's an extraordinary experiencer, and he has this place in Australia called Jaya Sanctuary, where he does CE5 events. And he gets beautiful UFOs like this one.
No, the other one's catching up to it. Look at that.
Underneath.
There is three.
There's a whole fleet.
Yep. So I said there was three before.
We see you.
See the one fake down the bottom too? See they're in a row?
Oh wow, there's another one.
Yeah.
Yay!
Hello.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, powered up! Woo!
Two, at least three. Oh my gosh,
there was three.
That is so orange.
Down the bottoms. Oh, it's still there, but it's really clean. Oh no, it's not that one.
Crazy! Oh, look at that! Yeah, that's.
That was awesome. Yeah, just a whole bunch of UFOs all coming out for the CE5 event. I love it. I think that's just beautiful. Hopefully I'll get a chance to go to Australia someday and check out Jaya Sanctuary for myself. Love Peter and what he's doing. He has a really beautiful take on things, and his experiences are really extraordinary. Meanwhile, Danny Sheehan is saying on Wednesday, November 13th at 11:30 a.m. ET, the U.S. Congress will host a critical joint hearing. UAP Exposing the Truth, held in room 2154 of the Rayburn House Office Building. This hearing, called by Chairman James Comer, will bring together the Subcommittee Cybersecurity, Information Technology, and Government Innovation, along with the Subcommittee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs. So there you go. This is the details of the new UFO hearing led by Nancy Mace, but of course authorized by James Comer. And here is from Dean Johnson, who says the Oversight and Accountability Committee of the U.S. House of Representatives has posted an official notice regarding the November 13th hearing before its Cybersecurity and National Security Subcommittees, UAP Exposing the Truth. I like the idea of exposing the truth. It's unclear if we're going to get any truth that we haven't heard already, but here is the official notice. Unfortunately, it looks like Christopher Melan is not going to be part of that. Chris Melan says, I agreed to testify in September and was very much looking forward to appearing. However, I have a long-planned trip with my wife that conflicted with the new date. Very disappointing, as I have some information and ideas to impart that I think could have been helpful and of considerable interest. Perhaps another time. I'm very interested to know what these ideas that he has that are of considerable interest are. I would love to hear what Chris has to say on Capitol Hill, but I guess that'll have to wait. Either way, Chris is not going to testify, but we have heard from a few sources that Lou Elizondo is going to testify. He absolutely deserves his day before Congress, so I'm looking forward to that. However, I'm really wanting David Grush's whistleblowers, his 40-plus witnesses, participants of these UFO crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs. We had heard they were going through the same DOPSR process as David Grush. Well, it's been a while. What's the holdup, guys? Are they waiting on enhanced whistleblower protections? If so, unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to get that with the new NDAA. But we'll see. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. But there you go. Chris is not going to be at the hearing, but we are going to get a hearing, and the truth will be disclosed. And of course, we also have the next hearing to look forward to in the Senate, led by Kirsten Gillibrand, where we will get Sean Kirkpatrick, the lovely Sean Kirkpatrick's replacement, Dr. Kozlowski, up on the stand, probably giving a briefing in the same way that Sean Kirkpatrick did before. It wasn't a great briefing. Hopefully the Dr. Kozlowski will not earn the lovely moniker like Sean did. I love that. Stanton Friedman calling Sean out from beyond the grave. Meanwhile, Breaking. Officials are urgently searching for 40 rhesus monkeys that escaped from a bioresearch lab. That's right, we've got monkeys on the loose.
For 40 monkeys that escaped from the Alpha Genesis facility in Yemisi. WJCL 22 News' Kyron Naveau live in the Low Country, keeping his head on a swivel with those primates on the run. And of course, this is a public safety alert. Kai, what is the latest on these missing monkeys?
I'll let you watch the full thing at your leisure. Obviously not UFO related. Probably. But if you're in South Carolina, watch out for those monkeys on the loose. Meanwhile, a really cool UFO video. UFOs coming and going from a volcano shared by Jaime Maussan. What is up with UFOs and volcanoes? We see this again and again. It's a pattern. Something is going on. Something is drawing them to these volcanoes, or they're using volcanoes to come and go from subterranean bases. I don't think they're drawing power from the volcano. Surely, they can access 0-point energy or whatever. They don't need to draw power from just the Earth's heat, I wouldn't think. Some people think that's what attracts them to nuclear power. I don't think so either, for that same reason. But let me know your thoughts. Either way, a really great sighting here, shared by Jaime Maussan, of this UFO over a volcano. Oh, yeah, what is the deal? I'm more inclined to think they're coming and going from subterranean bases, but, I'm not even sure that quite makes sense either. They seem to be able to just, enter the ground and come and go from the ground. I think I saw one do that once. That was my first UFO sighting. And it just, at full speed, just went right into the ground. It was just this white light that, I was driving down the road and it just went right into the ground about 100 feet off the road. I couldn't see any details, and I'm not even 100% sure of that because it happened so quickly, but it didn't seem to be a refraction of the light or anything. Wasn't a lens flare. So I don't know what that thing was, but it seemed to enter the ground going very fast. So I'm not sure if they would need to go through tunnels of a volcano. So what else could be drawing them to a volcano? Are they regulating the, volcanic forces to prevent an earthquake or something like that? I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts about why UFOs continually interact with volcanoes. What is the deal, guys? What is the deal? But it is a pattern. It is a pattern. We also have this really nice UFO video shared by Think Tank. UFO flies past an identified object during an air show in Pennsylvania. All right, let's check it out. Yep, there we go. Is that a dragon? Was that a dragon UAP or UFO? The term coined by Dr. Robert Shipe, who is the one who really pioneered the investigation into this subphenomenon of the UFO phenomenon, a very important subphenomenon or category of UFOs, however you want to think about it, of these small UFOs that will buzz aerial objects. They especially love air shows, they love buzzing military vehicles and police helicopters and things like that. So is that what's going on here, or is this something else? Is this just a random UFO or possibly a mundane object? It looks UFO-ish to me, but let me know your thoughts on this really intriguing UFO. Meanwhile, Mike Disclosure says UAPs take down Russian planes. Yeah, and he's giving a summation of some comments by George Knapp. And I've gone over some of this material before, but if you're new to this, this is really interesting. George Knapp talked about his time in Russia in 1993. The Russians had planes that were brought down and crashed into by UAPs. And it's so weird that UAPs continually crash into things. John Bell's truck. I shared another one of a UFO crashing into an 18-wheeler the other day. That's so weird that they would do that. These super fancy vehicles that may be able to access 0-point energy and, manipulate space and time or even go beyond space and time. But they do. Preston Dennett had an entire hour-long video where he goes through a whole bunch of cases of UFOs colliding with planes, trains, and automobiles. That's right, UFOs hitting a train. Well, if they can hit a parked truck, why not a train, right? Either way, let's continue. George Knapp talked about his time in Russia in 1993. The Russians had planes that were brought down and crashed into by UAPs. Now, he says brought down. Is that deliberately, or is that just as a result of being crashed into? The U.S. military has classified that the UAPs are not a threat to air safety or national security. That is obviously not the case for the Russians. When the Russians had their nuclear ICBMs turned on 57 years ago, the UAPs entered the launch codes into the Russian launch computers remotely. Human technology is unable to do that today in 2024. Yeah, they can turn off nukes, they can turn on nukes, but they crash into a train. Making sense of this stuff is impossible. The Russian legacy UAP program was called Thread 3, which probably continues reverse engineering of UAP crash retrievals in Russia today. So when David Grush testified in Congress about a Russian and Chinese UAP Cold War with the U.S., he was obviously correct. These UAP all over the world seem to be a threat in other nations by taking lives and bringing down aircraft. By being really inept pilots. So somebody made the joke the other day is, people like Grant Cameron talk about how experiencers often are eventually tasked with flying the UFOs. And, obviously the joke is maybe they're bad pilots, but it's probably not a bad, it's probably a bad joke if people are actually losing their lives. But yeah, it's a thing. UFOs crash into stuff. But calling them a threat because they crash into stuff, humans crash into stuff all the time. We don't consider bad drivers a national security threat. So, I'm leery of, saying this stuff is a threat for that reason. If it were deliberate, that would be different. But there you go. Really interesting stuff. Information out of Russia shared by George Knapp on Matt Ford, and he's talked about this stuff before. Let's see. We've got more good stuff. Christopher Sharp has some encouraging thoughts about the Trump presidency in relation to UFO disclosure. Peter Thiel and Elon Musk will have incredible influence on the Trump administration. Thiel's associates are incredibly interested in the UAP topic. As for Musk, should any verifiable evidence of UAP programs be made aware to him, he will want a slice from Lockheed Martin and others. Elon Musk versus Lockheed Martin. That would be an interesting fight, guys. That would be an interesting, love him or hate him, that would be an interesting fight. Elon versus Lockheed. I hope it goes better than it did with JSOC. Well, actually, Lockheed won that one. Chris Sharp adds, one more thing to add. Trump has been briefed on UAP legacy programs. This is something my sources are 100% certain of. Again, there should be no excuses if we don't see progress on transparency. Now, this is really interesting and important. Both Ross Coulthard and Haim Eshed said that Trump was made aware of, the full enchilada of UFO information, including the knowledge of the Galactic Federation and their involvement with governments on Earth. Now, I still have a hard time believing that, a president could be read in at that level. My ideas, they're probably read in, that they're read into it at all. Maybe they get the same level of information that Harry Reid and Admiral Tom Wilson were able to get. Where they were, eventually, after beating on the door enough times, they were kind of shown around the foyer of the UFO control group and said, oh, yeah, there was a crash once or twice, and yeah, we've tinkered with it a bit. And that's about as far as it goes. No, we're not going to show you anything else. Goodbye. And that was about as far as they get, from what they've been able to tell us. So I don't imagine a president has been able to get much more than that, if that. But according to Ross Coulthard, Haim Eshed, and Chris Sharp, Trump was indeed read into the UAP legacy programs. In other words, at least part of the UFO control group. So, it's unclear how deep that knowledge went or that briefing went. Was he really informed of the Galactic Federation and all of that stuff? Could that story be true? I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm not quite willing to, I'm not quite prepared to accept that a president could be read into that. But hey, maybe. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let's see. Yeah, meanwhile, this was really interesting. Okay, we have our second lawsuit related to the Netflix alien abduction documentary. Now Linda Napolitano is suing Netflix, and after 35 years has written her own book about her UFO abduction from a tower block. The book will describe what she saw inside the object and how the whole affair affected her family. Now, I've actually talked about her case before, and I'm kind of on the fence about her case. I've seen some compelling evidence for it and against it. I think the Y-Files talked about her experience as well, but I could be wrong on that. Either way, it's a really interesting case. And now, for I think the first time ever, we have multiple lawsuits regarding an alien abduction. This is a strange, brave new world we are living in. We are going to see an alien abduction case play out in the court system. That's nuts, guys. That's nuts. So yeah, let me know what you think about that. Meanwhile, last but not least, what the heck is this animal? What is that? A cat? Is that a dog? Is that a bear? What the heck is that crazy critter? Well, it's actually a bearcat. That was really surprising to me. I thought bearcats were extinct, but bearcats are not extinct, and they're cool looking. I think I want a bearcat now. I don't know. You think you could take one of those guys for a walk? What would happen if you took a bearcat for a walk? What would the dogs in the park say about a bearcat? I mean, he's related to a cat, right? But he's also related to a bear, so dogs, watch out. Either way, they look pretty frisky and pretty friendly. Look, you can pet them on the belly and stuff. Oh, that's awesome, guys. Let me know what you think about Bearcats and everything else covered today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the like button and the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below. T-shirts look like that. They're pretty cool. Or you can become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars. And I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel. Not all of them have Bearcats, but there's a lot of videos. So check them out. See you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.